another guitar adventure, and I am back with the Fender, well actually it's a Squier, and it's called an Affinity Stratocaster, but made by Fender Corporation. So as you remember in my previous video, I was playing along and all of a sudden I heard this pop. Uh-oh. And one of the posts that holds the tremolo in place came loose from the body, and it was just from the tension of the strings. So, I'm playing along and all of a sudden pop and everything goes, flat. I'm like, what in the world? So, I didn't know what it was at first. So I started to kind of investigate. I took things apart, tried to figure out what was going on with it, and finally figured out what actually took place was that this post pulled loose, and it actually was irreparable. See the body's cracked right there? The post popped out. It just came loose. So my comment was, this is going to have to go back to Fender, and I contacted them, and I can tell you this, Fender's a great company. For one, when you have a problem of this sort, they're going to ask you for some pictures, they're going to ask you for a few things just to make sure you're not trying to scam them. They've been in business long enough, they know that some people just do certain things. So I sent pictures and some testimony about what happened, and even I was willing to send them a video because I happened to catch it on video, and it was undeniable, and they very quickly sent me a return tag. I was on my way to having this replaced. It didn't even take a full week. I had this one back in my hands. And as I mentioned in the other video, my intention was to take it apart and use it for parts, and that's exactly what I did. I didn't even try to play the second one like I did the first one because I didn't want to go through all that, and I trusted that it was just an anomaly. And somebody actually commented on the video, and because I thought maybe it was a design flaw of some sort, and somebody said no, it's not a design flaw, and that was like an encouragement to me that wow, that was just a fluke. And I ended up getting this one, and so far it's been perfect. So whoever you were that actually made that comment, your username didn't reveal actually who you were, but I appreciate you saying that because that was encouraging. I got the second one, and here we are with everything all modified the way that I originally intended, and this is an amazing guitar. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my discoveries about what this guitar actually is. And you may already know that this is the origin of this guitar, but I'm going to expose it to you a little bit more clearly. I'm going to set this one down because that's a brand new 2024, and I'm going to grab this one, which is a Starcaster. And a Starcaster is essentially a Squier Affinity because it's the same exact thing as a Squier Affinity. There's really no difference whatsoever. I've taken them apart, I've handled the parts, and I've discovered it's the same exact guitar. And then this is another Affinity that came from a little older era. So this Starcaster is a 2009, and this Affinity is probably somewhere in the teens, like somewhere 2013, 2014, somewhere in that era. This has the 6-screw tremolo, and this one has, of course, the same 6-screw tremolo, but now they're calling them the Squier Affinity. So basically we're looking at the same exact guitar remarketed, and the parts are they're exactly the same. And the structure of these guitars are really good. Even after having that problem with this one, I realized that they really are a good guitar. So why does this one look so much different than the last one? Well, I tore it apart and I redid the electronics. I put some really nice pickups in it. In fact, these pickups, if you want to get a closer look at them, the neck pickup is a Seymour Duncan SH1, it's a 59. And the bridge pickup is a Seymour Duncan JB. It's an SH4 JB. And I went ahead and rewired everything, put full-size pots in it. I had these little witch hat knobs that I used instead of the standard Stratocaster knobs. I put a full-size switch in there and rewired everything. I did not put shielding inside because of using humbuckers. I didn't think it was going to be necessary. But I want to show you inside the body cavity in the back. I'm going to take this off and show you what I did inside here. One is that if you notice inside the body of this guitar, it's very rough. One of the things I think they did to save money on the manufacturing of these and be able to keep the price as good as they didn't really make this body cavity very smooth. It's very rough cut, but you're not going to see that anyway. It doesn't hurt anything. What I usually do is clean that up a little bit, and I put some foam underneath of these springs so that they don't make any noise when you play. And then I took out that little skinny zinc block that was in there, and I put a nice, this is it's not a full-size block because the body on these is actually thinner, but this is a shorty block that's made out of brass. So now I've got a really nice setup in here, and I really made this so that it's very respectable, and it's got a nice solid block inside there. But I wanted to show you inside that because I went ahead also and I took the bridge and I replaced all of the grub screws with black just to kind of set a little bit of a contrast there, and put black springs on there too. But this tremolo now with the brass block actually stays in tune really well. A little beefier tremolo bar than you would normally see on these guitars, and I like this because it does really grip well. And you can, if you wanted to put a spring in there to give you a little bit of different feel, you can do that. But I want to look at the pick guard because this is a really nice pick guard. When I got this, my intention was to put black pick guard screws just to kind of set off the contrast on this, because I knew when I was getting ready to buy this neck that I was going to have a really light colored neck, and I wanted to have some really cool contrast. And I did the same pick guard screws on the football jack. But I also wanted to leave some silver, because the silver and the black and the pearlized pick guard, the creamy green body, seafoam body and everything, I thought was going to be a really cool look. And that brings me to the neck. I took the neck off of this because the way that it is and the way that it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. That neck actually ended up on this body, and this body is the older Affinity body with the 6-screw trem, and I wanted to jazz this one up a little bit too. I bought the body separate, and my intention was to take the neck off of this and put it on this. And these two guitars are both a lot better than they were originally, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you about that neck, and I think you're going to be surprised about the neck. But I put some brass saddles on here with some black screws, and then this neck was originally on this body. So the machine heads on this neck were really not good. They squeaked, they slipped, they did all kinds of little weird things. But I was able to take the machine heads off of this neck and put them on this neck, and I ended up with a really nice combination. So this one is decked. The tremolo's decked. It's still got the thin zinc tremolo block, but it's decked, and it's got the original machine heads that came off of this neck. I still haven't told you where that neck came from. This is actually a Squier neck that comes off of the guitars that are one level lower than the Affinity. This came off of a Sonic. And the neck on a Sonic guitar, at least this neck, is much better than you would think. And when you put that neck on an Affinity body, it really gives you a nice solid feel. These are like the These are the tall, narrow, thinner style frets, but the neck itself's got a lot of really nice grain in it, but it's super light. So I took the neck and I removed the original nut and put a Graphtec nut on this neck. And I put a Graphtec string tree, and then because this was originally 10 millimeter, the holes were 10 millimeter, I moved those over to the other guitar and put in conversion bushings and did a kind of contrast over here too, where I put the split shaft vintage style in black, but I kept the silver screws. And then my little thing I like to do is put a little silver star up there. But this is a sonic maple neck with just a little bit of work done to it. I used a soft sanding block and just smoothed this out. And this neck went onto this guitar. And this is a super nice instrument now. Super nice. Tremolo works. It's got the nice thin body, creamy color to it, and it's a really, really nice guitar. This good, and generally when you get them when you take them out of the box, they're like terrible. Well, this particular one has this brass block, and it's not an expensive part, but it's an essential part for the whammy bar to work. And some people like to use 4 springs, and some people like to use 3 springs, and some people like to tighten the springs. It's designed to float, and you can see there's a little gap right here. And if you get that gap set just right, and you get the springs at the right tension and have a nice block, you have to have a nice block. There's little zinc blocks there, they're no good. But this thing, so that, is really going to give you the ability to use the whammy bar. It's not going to be usable for any real time if you have that little tiny thin zinc block in the back. You got to do something with that. Now, if you don't want to spend the extra money to get the tremolo working properly, you can just tighten these 2 screws right here and pull that zinc block, that little thin zinc block, all the way tight so that this lays flat on the body, and that works great. But if you want to use this tremolo bar and you want to have a lot of fun making all kinds of different weird sounds, you can get these to work. And this is a living example, because look, I'm still in tune. So you can stay in tune if you have those things working. Some years ago, I had a Fender Stratocaster American Standard, and the whammy bar, I never really used the whammy bar. So there was this little black spring inside the socket, so I put a star over top the socket. You couldn't really see it because the bridge, it was silver, but it kind of got me thinking about a few things. My kids had these for school because my wife would put a star on their paper if they did good, and I was looking for something to cover that, so I put that star there, and then I thought, wow, what else can I use that star for? So I had this American Standard Stratocaster. It was also like a seafoam green, but it was a dark seafoam green, and I took one of those silver stars and I put it right there, if you can see that. So that kind of became my trademark, and my kids kept asking me, what's that star? What's that star? So I got to thinking, you know, as I'm building guitars and putting guitars together, maybe I should go back to that and put that star there. But I have grandkids, and when they see the star, they're always like pointing to that, like that, you know. So that is kind of like a legacy for me. So I think I'll just keep it alive. I like certain parts of it, like really a lot. Like, for one, I like this thin body. This is thin. It's easy to just carry and wield. You know, there's hardly any weight to it. I believe the body is made out of poplar, which is a really lightweight wood. But ultimately, it's good. It's a good quality cut, and it's just got some issues with the way that it's set up and the way that it plays. With a little bit of work, it can be really made into something nice. Also, for $300, I've got something that's way better than it would cost, than I would have if I bought something for $300. Because, for one, I got the original guitar on sale for $50 off, and then I put another $150 into it, so I've got something really, really nice for about $300, and it's exactly the way I wanted it to be. I've got all the different contrasts and the feel and everything. It's mine. It's, you know, it's my preference. So you can do the same thing.